We are all living in this age of constant comparison, right? It's a culture that can quietly, day by day, just chip away at our peace of mind and our sense of accomplishment. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack that feeling, and we're going to use some ancient Stoic wisdom to find a way out of what I call the comparison trap.
I want you to just let that sink in for a second. This sentence, it just perfectly captures our modern problem, doesn't it? We have this constant feeling of falling behind, but what if the race itself, the one we're all so desperately trying to win, is a complete illusion? That's the core idea we're tackling here.
You know the drill. You pick up your phone and the endless scroll starts. But you're not just looking, are you? You're measuring. You're comparing your life, your career, your body, your vacations against everyone else's. And with every single post, it can feel like you've somehow lost a little bit of ground.
Okay, so let's get into the why. Why is this feeling so sticky? We're about to deconstruct social comparison and really see why, from a Stoic point of view, it's a game that you literally cannot win. In fact, it's designed to make you miserable.
Now this is where the Stoics get really, really practical. They start with this ruthless separation. Just look at that left column. Someone else's success, their luck, their timing. It is all completely outside of your control, and yet this is where we spend almost all of our mental energy, right? Now look at the right column. Your effort, your choices, your character. That's your world. The Stoics argue that this is the only place you should ever put your focus.
So here's the crucial shift in thinking. When you're measuring yourself against someone else, you're not really being ambitious. What you're actually doing is handing over your emotional remote control to them. You're making your happiness depend on stuff you absolutely cannot control, and that is just a perfect recipe for anxiety.
And you know, this game changes as we get older. In your 20s, seeing someone else succeed might light a fire under you, right? It feels like motivation. But if that's your only fuel source, over time, it turns toxic. By the time you hit your 40s, it's not motivation anymore. It's this quiet, corrosive resentment, because the goalposts start to feel permanently out of reach.
And this just brilliantly sums up the core problem. You're comparing your messy, complicated, real internal life, all your doubts, all your struggles, all your fears, against someone else's highlight reel, their perfectly edited surface. You're literally comparing your behind-the-scenes footage to their movie trailer. So of course, the result is always going to be painful.
Okay, so that's the broken model. What's the fix? Well, the Stoics offered this incredibly powerful mental shift. It's all about changing your perspective, about turning a source of pain into a source of objective information.
Just think about this for a second. What if you could look at someone else's big achievement and feel, well, nothing? Not envy, not self-pity, just observation. What if you treated their success like a data point on a spreadsheet? This is the very first step. You got to strip out the emotional charge.
See, once the emotion is out of the way, you can start asking really useful questions. Instead of feeling that pang of envy, you start to analyze. What were their daily habits? What sacrifices did they make that maybe you weren't willing to? And this is a big one. What invisible burdens might they be carrying because of that success? This turns comparison from an emotional weapon against yourself into a strategic tool.
And this is so important to remember. That big promotion, it might have cost them all their family time. That perfect body, it might have cost them their entire social life. You were only ever seeing one side of the balance sheet. And once you start thinking about the hidden costs, envy starts to look a little naive, doesn't it?
So we've broken down the old, external game. It's broken. It doesn't work. Now it's time to build the new one, the internal one. This is all about creating a personal scorecard, where the only person you are ever competing against is who you were yesterday.
This is the new rule, plain and simple. The only race that actually matters is you versus you from yesterday. It's profound, and it's 100% within your control. Can you imagine the freedom that comes from that being your only focus? And here's what that actually looks like day to day. These are your new metrics. Notice how none of them are about being richer or more famous or more followed. They're all about character. Were you a little more disciplined today? A little more focused? Did you handle a tough conversation with a bit more grace? This is a game you can actually win every single day.
Just look at the contrast here. This is all about redirecting your most precious resource, your energy. Think of all the energy you spend scrolling, comparing, and resenting. It's incredibly powerful stuff. Now, imagine taking all of that and pouring it into building your skills, refining your character, and competing privately with yourself.
Now, a common misunderstanding here is that this is all about becoming passive or, losing your drive.
It is the exact opposite. This is about unlocking a more sustainable, more powerful kind of ambition, one that can actually coexist with a real sense of inner peace. Let's be crystal clear about what Stoic contentment really means. It is not complacency. It's not giving up. It's a state where your self-worth is rock solid, totally independent of where you rank compared to others. And this allows you to be aggressive, to build, to aim high, but without your mental health being held hostage by the final score.
So ultimately, it really just boils down to this choice. There are two paths. The path on the left, competing for validation from others, is a roller coaster. It's based on things you don't control. It's always changing, and it will absolutely burn you out. The path on the right, competing for personal excellence, is internal. It builds on itself, day after day, and it brings this profound, sustainable sense of peace.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. The social media race, the career race, the status race, they aren't real. They're illusions. The only one that truly matters is the one against the person you were yesterday. So the only real question is, are you winning that one?